Hello, One Piece enthusiasts. I am the One Piece nerd, and let's talk about the last poneglyph. So, last poneglyph, as we all know, the last real poneglyph, or real poneglyph, whatever you want to call it, is we still don't know about it. Roger found it. We don't. We don't know where it is. Because that's the only poneglyph where we didn't get that information, and the Straw Hats are going to have to look for it. Now, I've talked about this topic extensively in my Road to Laughter video, but I feel like I haven't done it justice. This deserves a video on its own, and I think it's about to shake up the whole world in a very large way. Now, I'm not gonna get into the details of what might happen because of the last poneglyph, because Blackbeard's gonna come after it, other pirates would come after it, big pirates, including Kid and Law maybe. So I'm not gonna talk about that over here. It's likely that's for another video, but today we'll talk about where it actually is. Now, when Road to Laughter was out, and we saw 3 hints. We've seen some miscellaneous islands that the Straw Hats didn't visit. I don't think none of them would be a base for the last real poneglyph, for honest to God. I mean, it's not possible for the last poneglyph, the most important piece of solving One Piece, to be somewhere just, around Grand Line or maybe even the New World without anyone actually under it, or, someone protecting it. So let's talk about the locations of each of the poneglyphs we found so far. Number 1, Fishman Island. Fishman Island is way down underwater, and not most pirates can reach it. Number 1. Number 2, in order to access the Fishman Island poneglyph, you have to go pretty deep, and you have to have a better understanding with the fish, the merfolks and everyone. Luffy and the gang saved Fishman Island from Hoodie, and so King Neptune was nice enough to show them around, and Robin got to see for the first real poneglyph. The second one was in Zou. Zou is way high up, island floating around. You can never track it down unless you're using a Vivre card, and that's a very hard island to find. Not most pirates would know about it. I would doubt Kid has any idea about it. Kid probably doesn't have any idea about where Zou is. He doesn't even know about the real poneglyph. I don't even know how he's going to decipher it, unless he has the voice of all things. Law knows about it because he's been to Zou. And the third poneglyph is located in Wano. Even Kaido didn't even tell us where it is. And now we see Sukiyaki talk about it. He's probably the only one, aside from Kaido, that knows about the third poneglyph in Wano. That Roger got very easily because it was Oden's home turf, and it was very easy to enter Wano for Oden and just get it for him. The last one, every single one of these poneglyphs are guarded somehow, either by their place or someone in charge of it. Fishman Island is hard to reach, Zou is hard to reach, Wano is hard to break through because the man guarding Wano, in charge of Wano, was Kaido. Now that it's done, now that Kaido's dealt with, Straw Hats can now finally access the last poneglyph. Second last poneglyph, my bad. So, for the last poneglyph, we got hints of 3 islands. 2 being very obvious choices for the last poneglyph to be in, which is Hachinosu and Elbaf. 2 of them most likely out of the 3, and the last one is Vira. Vira is a place briefly mentioned in the story only twice. I can't for the life of me remember the second time it was mentioned, but the first time it was mentioned, it was by Nami, and it was in a newspaper before we got Luffy's first bounty. We were more focused on Luffy's first bounty than we were on that information, that bit information that maybe or may not be so important. Right now, Oda's editors are hinting towards Vira a little bit. It was the only island among a bunch of other islands that the Straw Hats have never visited. And for Vira to be, prioritized alongside Elbaf and Hachinosu makes you question it. Maybe it is in Vira, maybe it is not. Now, why would they mention Vira? Because when Nami read the newspaper, remember, this was pre-time skip. This was 3 years ago, approximately. Maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. I don't know One Piece timeline. I'm sorry. So this was pre-time skip. After Luffy beat Arlong and got his 30 million bounty, that's when we got to know about Vira. And it was mentioned that Vira was in a turmoil. What could this mean? This could probably mean that the revolutionaries were somehow involved. Because usually most countries aren't in turmoil because either they're with the world government or, they're just lawless lands. And you don't expect newspapers to print lawless lands because it's whatever. But for a country like Vira that may be rebelling against the world government somehow, and the revolutionaries somehow helping him, it's likely that, Vira could be under the revolutionaries. And considering Dragon, you expect Dragon to know a lot about the world. Maybe he's not looking to decipher the One Piece. Maybe he's not looking to discover Void Century. But his work of, taking down the world government, he must have come to a conclusion based on history. He wouldn't just blatantly go after the world government and, go after the Tenryubito specifically in order to, take him out of their power. You would assume Dragon, being the leader of the revolutionary armies, to know some sort of a history, or at least know a little bit of the Void Century, or of the Poneglyphs, or of the world government's rule from history that made him decide to do it. Which means the revolutionaries guarding the Poneglyph makes a lot of sense. I'm not too with it. I'm not a very big fan of the idea, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised. It is mentioned, it is likely, anything can happen right now. Anything can happen, and if Oda puts up a good enough reason for the last Poneglyph to be in Vira, I would not be sad. And with saying that, moving on to Elbaf. I don't have much to say about Elbaf. Because, truth be told, Elbaf has been hyped up ever since we met Dory and Broggy, and it's been hyping up ever since. We met Hajiruddin, we met Big Mom, who was from Elbaf. We need to meet the giants. Usopp was talking about meeting the giants. We have theorized that Joy Boy could be a giant, with Luffy's giant form being Joy Boy, or Sun God Nika, or whatever. Elbaf is one of those islands in the world of One Piece right now that has the most attention from all of us viewers reading the manga. And another connection with Elbaf is Shanks. Shanks in North, I think it was Norse mythology, where, Shanks is a protector of the giants, or I don't know, don't ask me history. I'm not taking on one. I am very bad with history, but it's been theorized that Shanks is now protecting Elbaf as one of his territories. You'd expect a big gun like Shanks, like most other emperors, to have a home base. Whitebeard had that was his homeland. Big Mom had Whole Cake Island, Kaido had Wano, now Blackbeard has Hachinosu, coming to that. And Shanks having Elbaf wouldn't be such a ridiculous idea. I wouldn't honestly mind it if Shanks was guarding Elbaf. And Shanks having the last Poneglyph would make it hard for most pirates to get to him. Because not anyone can just walk up to Shanks. Look at Kid, he lost an arm and somehow barely came back alive. Not everyone can beat Shanks. Only top 4 can go up against him, but it still doesn't guarantee them victory. And for Shanks to be guarding the last Poneglyph, yes, it's true, because Shanks, presumably, let's say Luffy and Shanks are friends, unless Shanks is evil. Let's forget that for now. Shanks is looking for the worthy someone who is worthy of reading the Poneglyph and discovering the truth of One Piece. If Blackbeard, for instance, goes up to Shanks, tries to beat him, Shanks is not gonna go easy, and he's not gonna give him the information. He's gonna probably, try to guard the Poneglyph with all his might. And so Shanks hiding the last Poneglyph, protecting it somehow, being a guardian, would make a lot of sense, and that too in Elbaf, the Island of Giants. Now, Hachinosu. Ever since Hachinosu was introduced, I've been questioning this to the entire fandom. What is the purpose of introducing Hachinosu if it's only going to serve as, some sort of a past incident? Only two things Hachinosu is famous for is this is the place where the Rocks pirates formed their journey, from their crew, my bad. It was apparently Rox's home turf. And now it's Blackbeard's home turf, who might apparently have the will of Zebek, because his ship's name is I think the Saber of Zebek. So there's some sort of a connection there, and for Blackbeard to have it as a home base is also a very good idea, if everything's hinting towards it. And for Hachinosu to have the poneglyph might also make a little bit of sense. I prefer the last poneglyph to be in Elbaf, but being a lawless island, it's hard for the world government to go there and to, take the poneglyph elsewhere. Which probably suggests that the poneglyph is still there under the rule of lawless pirates who don't even know how to decipher it or doesn't even care. But Blackbeard does. Maybe he has some way to read poneglyphs, or finds Robin somehow and reads the poneglyphs and whatnot, make her read the poneglyph to uncover the Void Century and everything, and to help reach Laughtail. But for Blackbeard to be guarding it is a very risky idea, because if he gets one of the poneglyphs, him getting his hands on the rest of them isn't so hard, if you ask me. But I'm a little bit against it. But I would be not so upset because of Hachinosu serving a purpose other than just being in history model or something. Just being there for the name, nothing special about it. Every single island that the Straw Hats visit always have something important to do with the story. And if Hachinosu is going to only serve as being a historical point and of Blackbeard's base, I don't think that serves its purpose right. Even Whitebeard's hometown had served a purpose, because we know where Whitebeard used up all his treasures. And Hachinosu being so important, it's been talked about ever since, Blackbeard made it his base and everything, and rocks and everything. It's very influential figures. There has to be a reason as to why such a prominent figure in the history of all of One Piece would want Hachinosu to be the base of operations. That is it for me today. I don't think I can put much more thought into this, and this is it for now. Maybe if I have further ideas, I'll talk about it more, but this is it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.